of what I say will seem extravagant, but I persist in saying it so that some of what I say will be heard. I have always hated slavery. It is a poor school for the human intellect, and it provokes cruelty in the human heart. My dream has always been, still is, and shall forever be freedom. There is a particularly insidious damage done to the spirit of a man who's been enslaved. You may remove the shackles from his wrist, and he will continue to struggle against the phantom weight of his bondage. You might remove the fetters from his ankles and feet, but he will go on shuffling haltingly as if still caught in some invisible restraint. But let that same man lose the chains from his mind. Those of you who are fortunate enough to live in the generations beyond the curse of slavery, take note of your young black brethren as they go to and fro. Still wearing that ball and chain, still waiting for the revolution to be televised. The African in North America, the so-called Negro, has endured for nearly 300 years unspeakable crimes against his body, against his spirit, against his mind. In spite of that, in order to continue to survive, no. In order to thrive, and yet again, no. In order to prevail, the African American must learn these indispensable lessons. He must learn how to read. He must learn how to write. He must learn how to be free. He must learn how to fight. Now, you all can celebrate having acquired such skills. But for a slave, being enlightened was punishable by death, because the slave owner believes, and correctly so, that an enlightened slave is a dangerous slave. Rise, my brethren, rise up from your knees. Cleanse from your mind the white man's vision of bondage and replace it with the black man's dream of freedom. Rise above oppression. Rise above race. Rise above yourselves and triumph over life. For 26 years I prayed on my knees and received no answer until I prayed with my legs. Rise up and walk. If there is no struggle, there is no progress. Those who profess to favor freedom and deprecate agitation are men who want crops without plowing up the ground. They want rain without thunder and lightning. It is not the gentle shower that we need, but the thunder. We need the storm. We need the whirlwind. We need the earthquake. And then maybe once and for all, mankind will learn this indisputable lesson, that where justice is denied, where poverty is enforced, where ignorance prevails, and where any one class of people is made to feel that society is an organized conspiracy to oppress, rob, and degrade them, neither persons nor property will be safe. Strength of body and will is necessary to sustain life. The purpose of life is never found. It must be created. There is no liberation without literacy. Freedom without literacy is still bondage. This is the Holy Scripture. It is how I learned to read. I have read it many times from cover to cover, and I come away with this irrevocable belief that the Almighty helps those that help themselves. This is the Columbian Orator, containing original and selected pieces, along with rules calculated to improve youth and others in the ornamental and useful art of eloquence. It is how I learned to write. Mr. Abraham Lincoln and his Emancipation Proclamation is how I learned to be free. Every slave has a great white father, either in the woodpile or the big house, or in history's file or the White House. And this is how I learned to fight. I was somewhat unmanageable as a young slave, especially during my teenage years. To better control me, my master sent me to live with a Mr. Edward Covey. Now, Mr. Covey had acquired a very high reputation as a nigger breaker, and his reputation was of immense value to him. On our very first meeting, he gave me a severe whipping, cutting my back and causing blood to run, raising ridges on my flesh as large as my fingers. I lived with Mr. Covey for 1 year, during which time scarcely a week passed that he did not whip me. Oh, yes. Mr. Covey succeeded in breaking me. I was broken in body, in soul, spirit, but he did not break my mind. Eventually, on one of the hottest days in August, Mr. Covey, with no provocation, came after me, cracking that vicious, black leather snake of his. He raised that lash high in the air, revealing a countenance so treacherous that it made my blood run cold. It was a moment that moved monstrously slowly, as if frozen in time. And then, just as sure as if the lash had connected with my flesh, there was this unmistakable sound of something snapping. Now, out of servile habit, I would have turned to see if some accident had occurred nearby, but in my heart of hearts, I knew what had happened. Something had snapped inside of Mr. Covey. His fury was so great that I knew in my young bones he was determined to kill me. And whence the spirit came, I do not know, but I resolved to fight. Slave or no slave, I seized Mr. Covey hard by the throat. My resistance was so entirely unexpected that it took him all aback. He was trembling like a leaf. Never before that moment, and at no time since, have I been so confident that God's mysterious power was on my side. I was determined to have my freedom or die. I seized Mr. Covey hard by the collar and with a sudden snatch brought him to the ground. Ow! Ow! We were at it for nearly 2 hours. I considered him as entirely getting the worst of the bargain, for he drew no blood from me, but I had from him. I had never felt like this before in my life. And from that moment on, I did not hesitate to let it be known that the white man who expected to succeed in whipping me must also succeed in killing me. No man can put a chain about the ankle of his fellow man without at last finding the other end fast about his own neck. And for the first time in my life, I could see beyond tomorrow. I could see to a future time, a time when other men like me, would experience love, truth, and justice. I could see a glad day of deliverance. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. He is trampling out the vintage where the grapes of wrath are stowed. He has loosed his faithful lightning of his terrible swift sword. His truth is marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His truth is marching on. In the beauty of the lily, Christ was born across the sea, with the glory in his bosom that transfigures you and me. As he died to make men holy, let us die to make men free, while God is marching on. Glory.